So yesterday I told about reading the Murli from the app. If you only understand English, or listening to the Murli in Hindi before the class. So those who have joined new, did you try? Any of you, did you download the app and try reading the Murli or listening to the Murli? If yes, please write in the chat box. Did you try? So, yes, one person tried and others. So, please make this effort. If you do that, then you will understand. So, initially, maybe you will not understand the whole Murli, but it is very important that you go through it so that slowly, gradually, it starts making sense to you. Because you see, Shiv Baba is at, very high up, not just in terms of physically being in the soul world, but in terms of the consciousness that Baba is in. So Baba is very, elevated. And we are Baba's children, but we have taken birth after birth and we have depleted ourselves. So now when we listen to Baba through the Murli, so what is the Murli? The Murli is the mind of God. So whatever Shiv Baba knows, that Supreme Consciousness knows, he speaks that through the Murli. And when he speaks that, you get a glimpse into what Baba thinks, what is on his mind. And when you take that content of the Murli and churn about it, you think about it, then it is like connecting your mind to Baba's mind, connecting your intellect to Baba's intellect. And then you see, if you connect your intellect, your mind to the one who is supreme, then in this process, your intellect and mind gets purified. Because it is very well said that company colors. So the color of the company of the purifier, how do you keep company of the purifier? By thinking about what he thinks, by thinking about what he says in the Murli. And in that company, you will get colored. You will also start becoming like Baba. Because if you think like somebody, you start becoming like them. So this will move us closer to our most elevated state. So you see, meditation and spirituality are perceived in many ways in the world. But in Brahma Kumaris, it is very specific that meditation and spirituality are the method to reach our highest potential. And what is that highest potential? We were a deity full of purity and divinity. And in order to access the purity and divinity, that is our original nature, we need to connect our mind and intellect to the one who is the purest and the most divine, Shiv Baba. And when we keep doing that by thinking, listening to the Murli, thinking about it, or just remembering Baba as an ocean of love, ocean of peace, then slowly, gradually, it is not a quick process. It takes time, it takes years. But in this journey, you will keep moving ahead. And slowly, gradually, there will come a time when you will be very colored by Baba's company and we will get in touch with our own purity and divinity, which is now latent, and the overt quality in us is the opposite of purity and divinity. But as I keep company with Baba, the negative side of me will keep getting merged and the pure side in me will keep getting emerged. So I would again underline that you read the Murli and then attend the class so that it makes more sense, and also slowly, gradually you start understanding Baba's Murli. It is very important that you claim your right of having access to direct words of Baba also. Because what I will tell you is my understanding of Baba's words. But Baba's words should directly also reach you. And that happens through the Murli. So with this thought, today we will churn on what Baba says in the Murli. So today's Murli is primarily about service, Seva. Now you see, in this Raj Yogi life, in this path of Raj Yoga, or in the study of Raj Yoga that we are doing, there are 4 subjects. So just like when you go to school or college, you have subjects. So here also, this is a study, this is a school, this is a university, and there are 4 subjects in this study. First is knowledge, second is yoga, third is dharana, or imbibing what Baba says, or practice. But the accurate word is dharana. And then fourth is seva, or service. So these are the 4 subjects of Raj Yoga. And these 4 subjects are separate. Just like, if you have 4 subjects in your college, then each subject has 100 marks, and you pass only when you get pass marks in all the 4. Getting more marks in one subject is not going to substitute or compensate for the less marks you received in another subject. Similarly, here also, at least passing marks we have to get in all subjects. So all 4 subjects are equally important. So first subject is knowledge, studying the truth through the Murli every day. And for knowledge, you need regularity and punctuality. So everyday study, and right from the beginning till the end, don't join late, don't leave early. Full class you have to do, whether it is Murli class or Murli churning class. If you attend the full thing, then you are paying attention to the subject of knowledge. And what does knowledge do? Knowledge is the foundation. If you don't know better, you can't do better. So that's the law. Second is yoga, the subject of yoga. Now, yoga, Baba says, the subject of yoga means you remember Baba. And who is Baba? So Baba is the ocean of purity, peace, love, happiness, bliss and power. And Baba is the father, teacher, Satguru. So when you remember Baba as he is, in the relationships he is in with us, or you remember Baba with his quality, you remember Baba as the ocean of peace and draw peace from Baba, or you remember Baba as the ocean of love, and with the concentration of your intellect on Baba, you are drawing love into your heart. When you do that, or you remember Baba as the father, and you feel how a child feels in the presence of the father. The child never worries. The child knows I am protected and taken care of. You remember Baba as the teacher. So when you remember Baba as the teacher, you remember how valuable his teachings are. And you also remind yourself of what Baba has taught you. So Baba says, you remember me in many ways, in many relationships, in many of my qualities, And when you do that, then what happens is, through the subject of yoga, you burn your old sins. Yes, so what does the subject of yoga help you in? Burning away old burden of sin. And how does yoga help you do that? So you see, whatever sins we have created or whatever sins we have accumulated in our past births, or maybe in this birth before we came to Gyan, yesterday I gave you the understanding of what is sin. So whatever sins we have accumulated, what have those sins done to us? So those sins have altered me, they have changed me, they have changed my sanskars. So let's say I have been very angry, so I have committed a lot of actions based on anger in the past. Okay, then what is my sanskar right now? My sanskar is of anger. Yes, my sanskar is of judgment. My sanskar is of being short-tempered. Now, this sanskar is a result of sin that I have committed. Because whatever action you do repeatedly becomes your sanskar. So the action was done, but then the sanskar stays with you. Now, when I remember Baba, what happens is, I draw the opposite of the sanskar that I have. Suppose I have the sanskar of anger and my sanskar is my problem. That much we have understood in the course, that the world is not my problem. My sanskar is my problem. Now, how do I change it? So when I draw into myself the opposite of that which is my sanskar. So the sanskar of anger will go away when I draw the opposite of it, peace. Okay, or love or respect. So when I draw these qualities from Baba, then I am replacing my old sanskar. And this is like getting rid of my old sanskar, because one cannot get rid of old sanskars by trying to pull them out and take them out of the soul. That's not possible. So what do? You fill yourself with the positive one so that the negative one gets replaced. So Baba says yoga is essential for burning old burden of sins. And then the third subject, Dharana. So you see, Dharana, yesterday Baba talked about the Dharana of hear no evil, see no evil, talk no evil, think no evil. So when we are conducting ourselves in our day-to-day lives, then what should we pay? We pay attention to. What are the rules that we pay attention to while eating, sleeping, walking, seeing, thinking, or about attitude? So these are all the dharanas that Baba teaches us. And what is the role of dharana? It helps you in not performing further sinful action. Yes, so Baba says, don't eat food that is not prepared in Baba's remembrance. Don't eat food that is tamasic in quality. Because if you eat it, it will affect your mind. And then your mind, when it is not in your control, you cannot control yourself from doing what you shouldn't do. So Baba teaches us many dharanas. Baba teaches us how to, get up early in the morning and first thing you do is sit in Baba's remembrance. Waking up early in Amrit Vela and sitting in Baba's remembrance is a big dharana for us. Why? Because if you don't lay the foundation of filling yourself with spiritual strength, then maybe you think you have planned that I will not speak bitterly today, or I will not react, but you will, because you have not paid attention to filling yourself with the power of spiritual, with spiritual power taken from Baba. So getting up at Amrit Vela, eating pure food, not listening to and seeing old stuff of the old world, or another important dharana is celibacy. Because if you engage your senses into sensual pleasure, then it will become very difficult for you to become soul conscious after that. So, do you understand that engaging in lustful activity is the highest form of body consciousness? So, when one is engaging in a lustful act, then that person is totally body conscious at that time. And when one engages in this kind of peak body conscious activity, then how do you, again remove yourself from that consciousness and go to soul consciousness? Very difficult, almost impossible. So Baba, that is why says there are many dharanas. Dharanas are like precautions that will help you not lower your spiritual stage, so that you are able to sit in soul consciousness and in remembrance of Baba in a second. Now you see, here I would underline for you that this is recommended, this is what Baba teaches, but it is not something that Baba prescribes or Baba says that you have to do it today only. Baba says this is how you will progress on the spiritual path, and you must know, even if, so you see, if Baba doesn't tell you all these things and then you are meditating but you're not paying attention to purity of food and celibacy, and then your spiritual stage is still the same, then you would question whether Baba's yoga is working or not. So Baba tells you that, these are the things you need to do. How much you want to do, how much you want to achieve is up to you. It's not something that Baba is, on a gunpoint telling us to do. But Baba says if you did this, you would get the maximum benefit of it. And it's a journey, it's a process. You must know everything. And you take your own choices and decisions according to, how much you want to progress and where you are at in your journey. And then fourth subject that Baba talks about is Seva, service. And what does the subject of service do? Service makes us earn blessings. And just like, we have a burden of sins, so we burn that burden of sins through yoga. We take care not to perform new sins by taking care of dharana. And through seva, we perform good actions, which makes us have an account of punya. So the positive account, the credit of the soul increases. And this whole process of having the journey from debit to credit is done when you pay attention on all the three, on yoga, dharana and seva. So seva is when you do seva, when you do service, then you are incurring blessings. And when those blessings are earned, then your account of credit increases, your spiritual account of credit increases. Now, today's Murli is about seva. And Baba says, you are the only ones who have knowledge in yoga. So what you do is you share it with others. Yes. So that is seva. What is seva? When you become the instrument to share knowledge and yoga with others. And how do you become the instrument? So there are two methods. First method is you share knowledge in yoga with somebody. You share what you learned. Now, do you understand that on this journey of knowledge in yoga, you need to give constant sustenance to somebody? Yes. If you don't give daily class to somebody, if you're not there for somebody every day so that you can speak Baba's knowledge to them and help them, in their path of yoga, then you cannot be an instrument for individual service. And let me tell you, I have tried a lot, earlier to, when I was not part of the center, I just tried individually giving knowledge to somebody. But today I give them the chapter of the soul, and then yes, tomorrow I'm not in good mood, and then they are coming to me, and then I'm not able to give them the next chapter. So it doesn't work like that very well. So second method is you become the support in this task that Baba has created. Baba has created centers, Baba has created the headquarter, and the service of giving knowledge and yoga to everybody is happening through these centers and through Mount Abu headquarter. So when you become a part of the center, so now you're connected to Saket Center. So when you volunteer yourself, when you volunteer your energy, your time, your mind, your skills, your money, anything for this seva, then that is called doing seva. Because when you become part of the bigger seva, then you earn the blessings of that seva. And in that, Baba says, why do children not become a part of seva? Because earning blessings through seva is very easy. But still, you see, many children don't become part of seva. So Baba underlines the causes because of which children are very slack in seva. So first cause is criminal eye. Yes, criminal eye. And what is criminal eye? When you have the vice of lust inside you. Yes, and you see, the vice of lust is insatiable. The hunger for sensual pleasure is insatiable. Do you understand that? And anybody who is, trying to fill the inner vacuum through sensual pleasure, even if they just finish all their life doing that, all their time, energy, physical energy, financial energy, their thought energy, everything goes into that pursuit of physical and sensual pleasure, and still, they stay as hungry as ever. So Baba says, somebody whose organs have not cooled down, somebody who is still in the pursuit of physical sensual pleasures, they will never be able to do seva because nothing is enough for them. So, 24 hours is not enough for them. Their wealth is not enough for them. So, you see, people say lust, they say wanderlust, they say lust for money. They say so many, lust is used in so many ways. Why? Because when somebody is trying to fill this inner hole, inner emptiness with sensual pleasure, that is an endless pursuit. All your life will be sucked into it, and still, you will be as empty as ever. So Baba says, such children cannot do seva. If you have criminal vision, you cannot do seva, because all the time you're only thinking about, how to make myself happy through sensual pleasures. And sensual pleasures are costly, they come at a price. So, you keep paying for them in terms of time, thought, energy, money, and then you have got nothing left for seva. You are always, you live your life like a beggar, because you never have enough for yourself. So how can you contribute to others? So you cannot contribute to Baba's task if you are lustful. So this is one reason why children are not able to do seva. Second reason is, when you are living in a household and Baba says the two wheels of the household, they are not in consonance with each other, then household life becomes a burden. Yes. So, but what do you do? Because you see, if you look at this point, then in the first instance, when you see that Baba is saying that when there is dissonance between the two wheels of household life, who are the two wheels? Husband and wife. Yes, so when there is discordance or dissonance between the husband and wife, then Baba says household becomes a big burden. And then you have no time, energy left for seva. But the thing is, how do you remove this? Because what happens is, in a household, you say, yes, there is dissonance, but it is because of the other. And I'm doing my best, but the other person is not cooperating. And if it takes two to tango, then we cannot have tango because the other person is totally out of rhythm, right? So what do you do in that situation? So one thing that Baba has taught us is, it doesn't take two to tango. One person in a household, if they with determination decide to make everything right, they can. Yes, so you see, if somebody is not on the same page with them, but you don't mind it, you don't create conflict by participating in the conflict that they are trying to create. And how do you participate? Not just with words or actions, but with thought also. So if you are okay with them all the time, you create this thought, it's okay. They are fine the way they are. I don't have any problem. And you accept them as they are, and you do your best. Then, slowly, gradually, you will come into alignment with each other. And, there are very few examples of people achieving this kind of coordination by themselves, because it's not easy. It's not easy to be in that acceptance mode all the time. If you accept somebody and create that energy of respect despite what they do, then you can come into consonance with them. But it takes a lot of spiritual strength. And I have seen this practically happen. And I have seen this practically, that two people who were completely in dissonance with each other, they came on the same page because one person decided that no matter what, I'm not going to create any thought of conflict. And whatever they do, whoever they are, I understand there's a karmic account, and I will settle it with my spiritual strength. I will stay respectful and accepting no matter what. And that one person, because of their effort, they achieved this consonance. And it happened in front of my eyes. And that is why I know that what Baba says works. But it works only when you try really hard to do it. So Baba says that, if this happens, then, the household is not a problem. It is not the household, it is not the duties, it is not the responsibilities that make you heavy. What is the problem actually? The problem is the conflict that you create. Yes, and what is conflict? Conflicting energy is like, this two opposite forces constantly bombarding into each other. And in that, there is so much negativity created that the whole household is full of those negative vibrations. But if one makes this little effort, then the household is not a big deal. We human beings are much more capable of than what we are doing. And this I realized on my journey because, earlier I used to think that managing a household and office and things is, a big deal. But then slowly I realized how capable we are as souls. And we are working so much under capacity because most of our energy is lost in conflict. Most of our energy is lost in internal and external conflict, fighting with each other and against each other, or fighting with each other in the mind. And that is where our energy gets lost. So Baba says anybody who takes care to remove this one problem is going to be able to be available for seva. And then third thing Baba points out is attachment. And you see, Baba says the souls in male bodies, they are not conditioned too much into attachment. But in female bodies, we are conditioned into attachment. And you see that Baba gives a very interesting example. Baba says that a man, when he gets married, he's told that, you are the God or you are the guru of this lady. Yes. And so you have to take care, you have to provide. But the woman is told that you are the tail. And you cannot survive on your own. Your everything depends on this person. So, a woman is always conditioned. It's not a woman or a man, it's a soul in a male body and female body. And just look at the height of body consciousness, that according to the body, we are conditioned to believe that, a woman is conditioned right from childhood, you're conditioned that your father, your brother, your husband, or even your son, you cannot live without them. Yes, and this is the conditioning that becomes our mental block. And then with attachment comes fear, worry, insecurity, everything. These are all products of attachment. And somebody who is attached, fearful, worried, insecure, they cannot do seva. Because they are always trying to, do everything to shift from a place of fear, insecurity, and worry to another place. They are just, living each day to ensure that there is no reason to fear, no reason to be insecure. So Baba says, the more we understand that I am a soul, I've brought my destiny with myself, and my destiny is not dependent on anybody. I come alone, I go alone, my Baba is my only companion, and everybody is just a co-actor. Until and unless you drill into yourself this soul consciousness, you don't have this, you don't have the capacity to do any seva. Because all your lifetime energy is consumed by these thoughts of attachment and the resultant fear and insecurity and everything. And I remember there was this one Mata, and when she started attending the classes, her husband got very angry, and then he left the house one day just because he wanted to stop her from attending the classes. And then she never attended the classes because she was very afraid that he would leave the house. But the interesting thing is, he left the house, he came back, but she didn't learn that the husband will always come back. She thought that, maybe one day he'll leave and never come back. And every day she's only thinking that he should come back today and tomorrow and the next day. So you see, how will such a soul even do purusharth, let alone seva? So this is our condition, and in this condition, any force, any kind of whatever the other person doesn't want, we can't do. Or even if it's not about the other person, it's actually about your own mindset which they play with. So this is one thing. Then fourth reason Baba says is body consciousness. So body consciousness tells you that you have a material reason for doing everything. And seva is an altruistic act. Seva is an act of selflessness. And when we are body conscious, we are very selfish. We don't do anything without obvious physical gain. So when we don't do anything without obvious physical gain, then it becomes very difficult to do seva, because seva gives you gain in the long run. Seva is not like you do it now and you reap the benefit now. It's not like that. So seva, yes, it gives you one instant gain, which is happiness. Other than that, seva only gives you long-term gain. But in order to understand that, you need to be selfless. If you're body conscious and selfish, you can't do it, because people, even when they donate something in the temple, they want their name embossed on it, so that other people come and they say, yes, this person donated this. So that doesn't happen in Baba's task. Nobody is going to give you credit. Nobody is going to felicitate you or give you a lot of appreciation for what you did. In fact, you do everything, then you will be you will be put through the test of maybe insults, so that it is checked that you're not doing it in body consciousness. Yes. So if you do something and then I tell you, do you think that because you did it, I would give you a lot of appreciation? Then what happens? That the other person thinks that, why would somebody say this? They should actually respect me and appreciate me for doing it. But Baba says, you should do everything with selflessness, humility, and considering that it is your duty to serve the task of God. And only then that seva gives you long-term return. Otherwise, you have eaten the raw fruit. You have eaten the fruit of appreciation, and you have eaten the fruit of instant happiness. So then how will you get the long-term fruit? So Baba says, this is why those who are body conscious also cannot do seva. So check for yourself how much of attachment is there, how much body consciousness is there, how much criminal eye is there, and how much you feel burdened by the household. And then remove these by paying attention to yoga and dharana, and with the power of knowledge, and then become a serviceable soul, because somebody who does seva will take the benefit of the punya karma generated through that seva. Okay, Om Shanti.